Dawn of the first day, 72 hours remain. The cycle begins anew. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. The quickest way to the ocean is through the west gate. And we will indeed look at that, but if you actually paid attention on the overworld, we actively can't do much there. Now, last time we finished off the last 3-day cycle with some rupee grinding as well as getting a bunch of pieces of heart across Termina and even some new masks. But you can only really do the first 2 dungeons in the same cycle before having to take a break for a new one for the 3rd and 4th dungeons for a pretty notable reason we'll get into in several minutes. For now, let's actually head back into the clock tower itself. For one thing, notably, time doesn't actually flow here, but if you talk to the happy mask salesman, why that's the bunny hood, isn't it? That is a fine thing. It is filled with kindness towards animals. You've done some good work. Keep up that pace. I'm counting on you to get my mask. I'm not really showing off any beyond that one, but for every single one of the masks in the game, the Happy Mask Salesman has a completely unique line of dialogue or two for it. Not quite describing what the mask itself does mechanically, but definitely more what it can mean as a mask itself to the people around it, and I really like that touch. It's not really needed, but I'm glad it's there. And now, before we get anything else done this 3-day cycle, we need money. I believe I'd withdraw the full 200. You're probably going to be good with 100 to 150 from memory, because I don't think I use all 200 of that. And then we want to take advantage of something I actually haven't yet in the general store. The general store itself is actually right across the way from the bank. You can buy a lot of the usual ammo there, arrows, Deku nuts, even some things to put in your bottles. But the main thing we want to do is with the Scarecrow. You can find him here just like you can over in the Astral Observatory, and we want to play the ocarina in front of him. Oh, baby, that's a nice thing you have there. Let me hear a song you run on that. Notably, you can play literally any combination of notes you want, so I tend to do that. Yow! Oh, yeah, that's a nice tune, baby. By the way, I know of a mysterious song that allows you to manipulate time. We've already done this kind of stuff before, Mr. Scarecrow. I don't need this information. Oh, sorry. That's too bad. If you'd like to see me again, play that song you just played for me. See you later, baby. That is the Scarecrow's song. Whatever you play for him there, you can play at other points in the game where Tattle flies off and marks a location as blue, and that particular Scarecrow, I think that's Pierre is his name, will show up and you can interact with him down the line. It's going to be important to do that for a couple of heart pieces this 3-day cycle, to be frank. But now we want to turn into a Goron in the bomb shop because now this Goron is here. Oh, of all places. You're a Goron, so you should be able to carry a powder keg, right? So won't you buy a powder keg for 50 rupees? How about it? If you've done the powder keg training on the last 3-day cycle where you take the powder keg to the racetrack to blow up the rock, and then go back to the Big Goron to certify yourself for it, and you get the certificate, I believe, in the 3DS version there. You can now actively buy powder kegs here in Clocktown for 50 rupees, which, while you can only hold one, that is surprisingly cheap. Yeah, I would figure in a lot of other games they would take this and make it like 100 rupees each. But next, it's time to correct a mistake from the last 3-day cycle. You might remember, there's the pictograph contest over in Southern Swamp. And you can get the reward for that in one of 2 ways. Either with a picture of the Deku King, or if you remember the dialogue the guy holding it mentioned, taking a picture of Tingle. I'm talking to him here just in case you need to actively be friends with him in some regard for this to actively proc. Either way, it's a good thing to do this here and now because I can just get this done pretty quick since whenever you do a 3-day cycle reset, after beating a dungeon, the things that reset, the dungeon boss needs to be beaten again. You have all the items within it though. And any consumable items you have, bombs, arrows, Deku nuts, anything that has an ammo counter is reset to 0. You still have the item in your inventory, you just need to refill the active ammo for it. Thankfully, for the ammo at the least, the best way to do that is just to go to any owl statue and destroy the grass nearby, or just roll through some grass in Termina Field. Ammo's not a big problem in this game, overall. The main reason you need to beat the boss again is just in case you missed a side quest that only happens before a temple is cleared for the long run. So, Let's now turn in our pictograph. What? That's my son! Is he still doing that sort of thing? How humiliating, this guy. He's my son. As old as he is, he's still doing some pretty silly stuff. I guess I spoiled him too much when I was raising him. But he really is a kind-hearted boy. Well, thank you for going to all that trouble. This is just a small token of my gratitude. And you get a piece of heart. Again, you get this through either the Tingle picture or the Deku King picture. It's not a big deal which one it is, you just need to get that done before clearing Woodfall. I have had playthroughs where I get that done before Woodfall, playthroughs where I just forget to, like this playthrough. It's entirely up to whether or not I remember to leave for reasons. But now we're at the Magic Hag's Potion Shop, because we want to pick up a bottle of red potion for this 3-day cycle because there's a side quest that involves using it. Notably, the side quest is slightly changed in the 3DS version in that where you need to use it is changed locations, even if the reward and ultimate progression of the dialogue involving it is ultimately the same. I'll talk about that more in a few moments. For now, we want to fly over to Milk Road, because you might remember, there was a giant rock that a guy takes until the 3rd day to destroy over here. But clearly things happen here on the first 2 days, so there's got to be a way to get through it, right? Correct. That way is by using a powder keg on the rock itself. And remember, just like when we use it to destroy the racetrack, you can actively speed up powder kegs by using bows and arrows. Just gotta get that out, place it down, scare the guy half to death, apparently. What? I thought I could break it. Well, you can. Just take too long. Kaboom! As long as it's open to traffic, it's fine. I mean, hey, you probably still got paid for this. Assuming you got paid at all. I hope you got paid. So, let's see how things are in Romani Ranch on day 1. Well, clearly, no cutscene here, but if you actually came here first at this point in time, you'd actually have a cutscene that shows Romani's doing some actual stuff around right now. Also, every time you come here, before actively doing the main side quest here, this cutscene does play. I've always kind of found that funny that you can have a cutscene like this play multiple times. But due to the 3-day structure and resetting and all that, there's several ways this can happen throughout the game. It makes me wonder if that's why that cutscene's actually not that in-depth in terms of dialogue. How you doing, Romani? Hey, who are you? I'm Romani. I was given the same name as the ranch. What's your name? It's Link. Link? That's a nice name, but... How about Grasshopper? That's the name Romani gives you. See, you're wearing green clothes and you patter about when you walk, so Grasshopper it is. Romani was practicing for tonight. Tonight. They are coming. They come at night every year when the carnival approaches. They come riding in a bright, shining ball. A whole lot of them come down. And then they come to the barn. My older sister won't believe me, but Romani must protect the cows. Hey, Grasshopper, I'm recruiting for an assistant right now. You're a boy, won't you try? Why not? That seems kind of important. Great, now that's the spirit, Grasshopper. Okay then, I'm going straight into my strategy. They'll appear all over the ranch. They'll aim for that barn and approach it slowly, so hit them with arrows so they can't get in. You got that? And you mustn't leave the ranch. Grasshopper, let's practice right away. There are 10 ghost-shaped balloons in the ranch, so hurry and burst them all. If you take over 2 minutes, you're out. The current record is 1 minute. Are you ready? I don't think you actively get anything for clearing that 1 minute record. Just make sure you're faster than 2 minutes. So now we actually have our first time riding Epona in the game. While she is smaller, and that does in fact impact her hitboxes a little bit, by and large she controls the exact same as she did in the last game. You move around kind of stiffly, especially backing up, but you have 6 carrots you can use to speed up, And you can spam through them for some pretty good speed, but if you use all of them up, they take longer to regenerate than if you use just like 5 and then wait a couple of seconds. And you can actively fire your bow and arrow when on Epona. You have infinite arrows for this minigame, but not usually. And when you're firing an arrow, you're just constantly moving forward on Epona at the direction you are currently moving, which can be a little distracting in some cases, but it's not too big of a deal. There's not many times you actively need to use the bow and arrows on Epona, barring this little minigame here. Just under 40 seconds? Amazing, it's a new record. You two work perfectly together. I'll teach Romani's horse calling song to you, Grasshopper. Now you two keep getting along and go practice some more. It is Epona's song, the song of two who are bound by trust. When your arrow hits these, they burst into nothing, but the real ones will keep popping up. If they get into the barn, we lose. They run away at the first light of the sun, so we'll have to keep fending them off until then. Did you get that? More or less. The operation starts tonight at 2. I'll be waiting in the barn. Don't be late. You've taken on the job of nighttime assistant. This was added to your notebook. And now that we've learned Epona's song, Epona can be called at any point in time, even at the start of the first day, even if you don't come back here on future 3-day cycles. This now allows us to access the 2 other portions of Termina Field, because if you try to head west or east of Clocktown, you actively can't go those directions without Epona. You can go a little farther east than you could west, but you need her to jump over some fences, because she can also still do that from Ocarina, albeit there's not many times in the game you actually need to use that. Epona in this game is much more required and more of a key than she was in Ocarina, where she was more used for side quests or getting around just a little faster. But we want to immediately take a sidetrack over here to the Gorman track, the other part of Milk Road, because now that we have Epona, we can do a side quest around here. As soon as I get them into the tracks.
Is that pathetic thing your horse? I would have guessed that little thing was a mule for sure, ain't that right, little brother?
Well, you think a horse that pathetic will gallop if you push the analog stick forward, or would it run faster if you press A?
This guy's funny.
Why don't you give us 10 rupees for the chance to race against us? If you win, we'll give you something nice, kid. What do you do? Sure.
It's a simple race. Just go once around the track. If you can beat us to the finish line, you win.
You ready? You might notice those look like the guy we saw all the way back in part 1 at the mayor's office. There might be a reason for that. This is just reused stuff from the Ingo race in Ocarina of Time. We need to beat them around one single lap. This is where you should really not spam all 6 of your characters. Spam like 4 or 5 of them, wait for them to regenerate, and hug the interior of the track because that is the shortest circumference around. There's going to be a couple points where you can make jumps. There's going to be little like divots in the road you can hop over that I never really understood the purpose of. But if you want to stay on the interior of the track towards the end, there are going to be fences you have to kind of jump over. And in no matter what version of Ocarina or Majora you're playing, Epona's jumps are a little stiff in that you kind of need to be going straight on at the fence for the jump to count. If you go on at a bit of an awkward angle, the jump just won't happen, and that slows you down. Notably, by the way, some little very minor things about the Romani Ranch area. Romani and her sister, for one thing, have little buckles for their scarves that are Bowser's face, but also, in that cutscene of them taking the cow had a nose ring in the Japanese version.
I can't believe we lost.
Like, bro, what if we can give this to that guy?
We gotta give him something. Well, he's a kid, so what could he do with it? It should be fine.
And we get the Garo's mask. The wandering ninja spirits who appear at Ikana once wore this. In exchange, you can't tell anyone where you got this. You rub the Gorman brothers' noses in it. This was added to your notebook. The suspicious Gorman brothers were added to your notebook. You do need that mask for plot progress eventually, by the way, so make sure you get that now. And that's actually all we need to do with these two, period. The 3DS version added a side quest involving these two that I'll talk about more down the line when we get a specific mask. And that side quest ends up getting you your 7th bottle that they added to that version of the game. But now that we have Epona, we have full reign of anywhere we can go. Mind you, I say that, but this part of the game is a bit weird in that more or less half of the game's side quests are available by this point, both ones we have done already and ones we haven't. And most of them involve the two areas we've been before, Southern Swamp and Snowhead, or Clocktown technically, and the area to the west, the Great Bay. There are some things we can do over here in the east section of the world map, which is Equine Valley. But we can't do most of those until the nighttime of any of the 3 days for the moment, and until we have the next major item to access a few more. But you do need Garo's Mask to actually get anywhere in this sector, period, past these fences, really. But the main reason we're over here is for the Circle of Rocks. As you might notice, title flies over to it and it is blue, so something's here. Get out your Mask of Truth and the red potion. And there's just a soldier here. How you doing, dude? Huh? Don't tell me. That's... I'm shocked. You're the first person who's ever spoken to me. I've been here for many years, waving my arms around and asking for help, but everyone ignores me and passes me by. It's because I'm about as impressive as a stone, right? I'm used to it, though. I have a request. Can you give me some medicine that would make even an unnoticeable stone like me feel better? This is what you need the red potion for, so give it to him. Is that it? I feel better, I think. Thanks. Oh, here, in gratitude. We got the stone mask, where it would seem to become as plain as stone. Now, let me practice standing out. Shiro, the stone soldier, was added to your notebook. You helped the innocent and conspicuous soldier. This was added to your notebook. For one thing, the stone mask is more or less an invisibility mask. When you wear it, enemies will not notice you. Stealth sections are basically non-existent, so if you wear that in the Deku Palace, I think you can, at least there. You won't get noticed and all that. Kinda nice, but notably, Shiro's location was changed in the 3DS release. He's now in the place where you would actually use the stone mask the most, over in the western part of the map. And now, for a couple reasons, I'm actually heading back to the bomb shop to buy myself a second powder keg, that's the word. Because we can use this one in this 3-day cycle as well after we clear the next dungeon, more or less. So I might as well just get it now to have it. And just to have the money, I'm gonna grab the 100 rupees here on top of the town shooting gallery, just to help with things down the line. Because now that we have Epona, we can access the western part of the map, which is our next destination. And getting a little ahead of myself here, for some people, this is the worst part of the game coming up. The next area is overall probably my favorite part of the game. If only because I think it does the best job of making the abilities we get there nice and usable. Because overall, this game uses its tools much better than most other 3D Zelda games. You use a lot of the items in basically every dungeon, and the way they do dungeon items kind of helps with that, on top of the overall smaller scale. But the abilities we get in Great Bay and how we use them just feels so much more satisfying. With that, build up speed and head for the fence, and you will leap on over. Welcome to the Great Bay, as soon as I actually get in there. It's time for a beach episode, and by that I mean several episodes. We spend a lot of time in this area, and it is a water area, but don't let that fool you. This place is a lot easier to navigate than you might think for what is usually water areas in video games. Got a lot of seagulls out over there? I think I see something in the water, too. That's interesting. I saw Tingle over there on the right, so I'll be heading over there in a few minutes. Oh, God, that's a person. Somebody, please, get me. Sure. Sure, buddy. Just gotta get behind him. Don't dive down. And you can grab onto him and push him like he's a block. There are some notable bugs that can happen here, and I might even show one of those off at the very end of the video, so keep in mind that. But let's get him to safety. You okay, man? How long have you just been laying in the water? I'm not gonna say face down, because well, you're Zora, so you could probably breathe in the water perfectly fine, but you've clearly been through the runner, bro. Oh my god. Oh god. We should probably find someone. I'm Mikao of the Zora people, guitarist in the Zora band. I think this is it for me. My final message. Will you listen to it? Yeah, of course. One, two, three. Oh, baby, baby, listen to me. The carnival's beginning soon. We're the ones they're waiting to see. But that girl, our vocalist, she laid some strange eggs and she's lost her voice. And you can't hear what she says. Whoa, whoa, in Great Bay now something is a-happening, is it now? Oh baby, listen to me, I don't wanna beg. Gyarados pirates, they stole that girl's eggs. I went to stop the Gyarados pirates, then pow and bam, I got knocked down and here I am. Baby, if I die like this, even if I die, it won't be in peace, that's for sure. Somebody please rescue our eggs before the pirates take control. Oh please, somebody please heal my soul. That's all, thank you. I can see why you're not the vocalist. Well, you saw Heal, his soul was highlighted in red, so play the Song of Healing, help the poor guy out. You got the Zora mask. This mask contains the spirit of a legendary guitarist. Wear the mask with C to inhabit the body of a Zora. Press C again to return to normal. Carve my farewell song on my grave. I'm depending on you to help that singer girl. Also, time for one of the weirdest moments of tonal whiplash. We get that nice scene of him dying, and it's nice and calm. We get this quiet scene here of Link praying at the grave, hoping he rests in peace. And when we investigate the gravestone, we get the Zora form tutorial, and yeah, the way it's portrayed is kind of weird. Herein lies Mikao, the legendary guitarist of the Zora tribe. He is to be remembered in song, and his lyrics are written here. Will you try to sing Mikao's lyrics? I'm not singing anymore, I'm saying this shit in normal speech. Sharp fins are the mark of a Zora. We swim, speeding through the seas with A in the analog stick. If R is pressed when swimming, a shield is produced to deflect magic. If you have magic. We can even dive by pressing B. Oh, oh, we the Zora. And we might as well read the combat tutorial. For my punch of anger, hit B. Press B repeatedly for our flurry attacks. Yeah, yeah. For my deadly move, press and hold B. Now release, it's the final blow, my double cutters. By the way, notably, all three of the transformation masks were in Ocarina of Time as little just extra masks you could do after the Happy Mask Salesman side quest there. But all they did was change dialogue with specific NPCs. It wasn't that notable. Unlike the prospect of more body horror. So the Zora form is my favorite form in the game overall. It turns you into Adult Link by and large mechanically, but the swimming is so fluid in this. It is beyond sharp. The analog stick movements feel so good. You can even jump out into the water if you angle yourself upwards. And notably, in the Japanese version, you had to do out-of-water Zora jumps like that pretty often because most water levels in the game were raised for the Western release and 3D. With that said, the Zora form is notably worse in the 3DS version because in order to have any of that good speed we just saw underwater, you have to hold the R button and use magic. I think you might even move a little faster by doing so overall, yes, but I just don't like that change because the fluidity of the control is just so much worse for it. I love this area overall. I think the 3DS version just kind of makes it feel worse overall, and that's sad because it's the main reason I'm actively tackling this version over the 3DS version, and that might seem kind of petty, and ultimately it probably is, but it's big for me.
They're late. What are those Zoras doing? What is it, boy? Did you also come to watch the Zora eggs hatch? I'm excited about it too, but those important eggs haven't arrived yet. It takes about 1 to 3 days from the time Zora eggs are laid for them to hatch. But if they aren't kept in this aquarium until then, they may die. The reason for this is that the recent abnormal weather has caused the ocean temperatures to rise in this region. Zora eggs are very sensitive to changes in the temperature. The only place the eggs can hatch is if they're placed in this aquarium water, just set aside for them long ago. The Zoras are well aware of this, but they're still late. Wonder if something happened at Zora Hall. I'll have to investigate that. What do you have to say to Mikhail, though? Oh, you finally came. I've been waiting for you. What about the eggs? I heard there's a total of 7. Hurry, put them in an aquarium. Well, we don't have any, so we're going to have to come back here down the line. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 13, we're going to explore Great Bay more in depth now that we have the Zora form. But first, something to note, this wasn't my first take at that first 30 minutes or so, footage recording-wise. Let me show you why. Huh?